TxStampin, Sharon. I have been playing in my studio today and I kind of got to thinking, I think I'm just going to share some of my creative processes with you all. I want to welcome you to my channel. If you're new, I invite you to hit the subscribe button below and then hit the notification bell. If you currently do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd be honored to help you with your Stampin' Up! Supply needs. You can find out how to contact me, my website, my blog, in the description box below. Just hit that read more button. Let's get started. Let me show you what I'm up to. So whenever I start creating a card or something, I start pulling out stamp pads and I decide what colors do I like together. And when I got these two together, it reminded me of my favorite dress that I had when I was a little bit younger. But it was this beautiful Pacific Point and lime green. So I pulled out these colors. I had a scrap a piece of paper. I started using stamp sets. I pulled out Beauty Abounds, Tasteful Textures, and in the end, I had to pull out a third one because I needed a butterfly. So normally I don't try to mix up 2 or 3 stamp sets, but I decided on today's video, we're just gonna play mix and match, okay? A lot of our stamps are designed to go together, but they're also designed to go with other sets. You'll see what I mean. So here's the card that I created. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I use the Subtles embossing folder on all of my layers, on my Whisper White and my Pacific Point. And now you see why I had to pull out that other butterfly. So let me just show you what I'm talking about. So this piece of cardstock, the size doesn't really matter at this point. It was just a scrap. And I just started stamping different areas. And I thought, well, I could always cut it down, which is exactly what I ended up doing. And I pulled this one out from Tasteful Textures, and I inked it up in Pacific Point. And then I went, oh, that's so pretty together. So I kept on. Then I decided to pull out the butterfly. Do a few of those. And I thought, well, maybe I'm done. Yeah, I think I'm done. Now let's see what I can do with it. So I pretty much cut it into half-ish. This measures 3.5 by 2.5. And after I ran it through the embossing folder, I mean, see, I was playing, you could tell. But this is the embossing folder. It's just a subtle folder that you can just barely see. It looks like linen. It's so pretty. So I had that. And on this card, we're going to do the reverse. Before I did it on Granny Apple Green. And because it is textured, I'm going to add some liquid glue. I don't want that to pop off. I will tell you, you need to do all of your stamping before you emboss it. If you try to stamp on it after it's been embossed, not pretty, not pretty. So you want to do all your stamping first, then emboss. So I'm trying to see if you can see the texture. I did it with the Subtles embossing folder. I think what inspired me to do this project, to emboss this, was a couple of weeks ago I did a video using designer series paper, and I embossed it. And I think I just can't stop embossing things. So I'm going to use, so I grabbed my Timeless Label punch. It looks like that. You could use any punch you have, but this one fit what I was doing. Okay, so I'm going to end up cutting that right in half. And then I have a piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to get my sentiment. Thanks for making it easy to believe in myself. think it's very important right now with everything that's going on in our world that we try to think of positive messages and positive cards to make, just for no reason, just to send them to our friends, since we can't get out and go see them. Okay, so whoops. Just trying to give that a little matting like that. Next, I'm going to take the polka dotted tulle ribbon. Is this tulle? Yes. Tulle polka dotted ribbon. You know, I forget the names of stuff all the time. Am I the only one that does that? All right, now I am going to add a little bit of snail on the back just to secure that ribbon. I prefer to use liquid glue when I'm actually going to apply this to the card, but I just need the ribbon to stay right where I want it. A little bit more. And then at this point, since I already know the design of my card, I'm going to go ahead, because it's easiest in this step. It's easier to do at this time than after you add the sentiment layer, but I'm just going to tie a knot. This ribbon kind of sticks to itself, so a little hard to work with, but it's so pretty. And I'm not tying that tight just yet. I will tighten it up later after I get it on my card. So I have a layer of Whisper White that is 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. And we're going to add some liquid glue to the back. Really getting those edges. But not too much so it doesn't squish out. Now for these two layers, I am going to add some dimensionals. And now we're ready to add our layers. Move this over just a little bit. We're going to add this. And then we can kind of pull our ribbon back over and tie it tight. So pulling in my butterflies from the Butterfly Gala stamp set, I then grabbed my Stampin' Right markers and started coloring. Now that I have it all colored, I'm going to punch it out. Now, my body of my butterfly, do I dare admit to you that when I was cleaning my stamps, I lost it down the drain? So, photopolymer stamps have to be cleaned, but I highly recommend you plug the drain first before you have a tiny stamp like that, and it goes right down the drain. All right, we're gonna pop this beautiful butterfly up with a dimensional. And I think I'm gonna put this one right here. So now I have two totally different cards using one scrap piece of paper and a beautiful subtle embossing folder. I sure hope I've inspired you, and I would love to hear from you if you decide to make something like this. And happy stamping, y'all!